will create. I 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 will create.
Hello. Hello. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Thanks for joining. My name is Will, as you can hear. And I'm here to bring you guys different kinds of content. What we're here to do is we're here to celebrate artists, get creative, have people come and tell us about themselves, tell us about things that they're interested in, because that's what's interesting to me, is finding out the things that are interesting to people and then learning from them so that we can all share this knowledge, this accumulative knowledge, which is, it's pretty massive when you think about it. Several hundred people all doing the same thing, in their own way. You put all that stuff together and you have a really great platform that artists can pull from. So I'm just checking the feed in here just to make sure that we have, okay. Well, that's too bad. Okay, let's see if this will let me do this. I had a Facebook stream going and it canceled me because I think I was too late on it. So that is unfortunate. But I do want to introduce you guys to my guest today. So this gentleman I met through the grapevine, and I would consider this guy a creative. And, if you have ever heard someone call another person an extraterrestrial in the sense of the music business, it's a good thing. It means they're doing something completely different that nobody else is doing. And that's what makes it interesting. And that's what makes it cool. So having said that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Netmaker. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, bro?
How you been? How you been?
I'm good.
Good. So we've had some talks about different things about, life and stuff like that. And, one thing that's funny is that people don't always get a chance to put a face or a voice to the person. They may know them on social media. They may know them from videos or even their music. But a guy like yourself, to get you in here and chat about, your experiences and just kind of like, an overview of yourself and your life. It's a treat for me and for people that watch my channel to kind of pick your brain and see what what you're up to and things that, things that you've done and things that you're continuing to do. So I'm glad to have you. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. And we're just going to have a chill, casual conversation. I know you got some sounds loaded up for us. Maybe we get to some of that stuff. And as also too, there will be links to Netmaker's YouTube channel and to his Bandcamp and some of the projects that he's working on. So you'll be able to find that stuff. So Netmaker, you got anything you want to share with us, man, about anything you're doing? How's life treating you?
It's good, man. I can't complain at all. Actually, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you good. Hear you good.
Been on and off in the lab, just feeding the inspiration. Actually trying to get a project together. I have plenty tracks, but I'm just sequencing them together and get my lineup together. Normally, I would put something out around Thanksgiving, which is around my birthday normally, and put something out, but I haven't in since 2017. So I'm eager to get one out this year. So I'm racing to get that done.
Right. So how far into it are you now? Is there any info you can put out to the public at all about expectations at all?
As far as when it drops, or just
Yeah. Is there, you have a rough format idea when, time wise, or is it just rolling as the wind blows at this point?
oh no, I'm pretty much set to get it out Thanksgiving week, and like I said, that's normally when I like to release projects. Um, I'm pretty hard set on that right now.
Okay. So you,
Hopefully I can make that deadline. I don't foresee any real reasons why I wouldn't, but that's my goal.
man, that'd be pretty sweet. You've got a couple weeks now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And we talked about some of the other things that are interesting to the both of us. But one thing that's very cool that I don't know if a lot of people know this, and of course, a lot of people that people that you and I both know this, but a lot of people may not know that you've got your own independent record label, and you kind of specialize in cassette tapes.
right.
Do
Yeah,
you want to tell us a little bit about that? About how you got started with that, and about where you're at with it now. What your thoughts are?
sure. Basically, I put my first project out in 2016, and I had always had a love of cassettes, and so I found that there's a actual term called cassette culture where people are doing DIY tapes and also have tape labels. And so after a bunch of research, I'm like, you know what? I can do that. I can get the best of both worlds because I do have a predominantly vintage setup, and so it was fairly cost effective to acquire equipment to make that happen. So that's what I started doing. Um, I'm always into different ideas and things. So I said, well, I'm gonna do research, find out what all I have to do, and maybe I can convince other artists to get on the label and help promote them as well. It kind of feed itself.
Right.
So
I think it's an awesome idea. I think it's a great idea, and I know that I've just purchased this like older, from Goodwill. It's like this old tape player, cassette player, but it looked different than the normal cassette players. It's got 1/4 inch jacks on it. So I thought maybe I could do some sampling with it and try to like do stuff in real time,
right,
like I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I kind of thought that was a little bit odd that I buy this thing and then I kind of like gravitated towards you and getting you on the show, but they weren't connected. So it was kind of the universe works like that, man. You get people that are on the same vibe and they just find each other somehow. So I think the cassette culture is a super cool, untapped resource, really.
I
From
got
say it again.
no. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of like a not an untapped, but like a retapped resource, I guess, because I mean, stuff went away for quite a while. I know people were still using tapes and stuff, but I think now it seems like people are just starting to kind of gravitate more towards vintage stuff, lo-fi stuff, and stuff like that. And so I guess that kind of falls in that category.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah, people people like myself, I find that we want tangible items, and back to the days of vinyl records and cassette. We were able to have that in something visual to look at and hold. It added to the experience. So that's kind of what I was going for. I know a lot of other labels are doing that as well. That was the reason. Even if you, a lot of people buy the cassette just to have it. They may not even focus on that being their main listening of the project, but they can have that, and they also include a download code, so you can listen to it digitally as well. But for some people, they really do want to actually listen to the cassette and get the quality of the cassette. So it feeds
Yeah.
both crowds.
That's cool, and I know that with your process, you include some extra stuff, so people can go find you on Bandcamp, and they can receive some merchandise
Yes.
along with the purchase. So you buy a cassette, you buy an album from Netmaker, and you're gonna get some cool stuff too. So I think that's awesome, and I'm looking forward to mine. So I'm gonna put that somewhere. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
yours
yeah,
should be there
cool.
by on Friday, I believe.
Nice, nice. Yeah, maybe I'll do a stream or something, and maybe put it in the background and play it or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I love to integrate other people's work into what I'm doing, and
That'd be dope.
you know,
That'd be dope. No, that's cool.
yeah. So let's see. We've talked a little bit about the organic creations and like um, you can own a sampler and you can own a DAW and all that stuff, but there comes a point where you kind of like feel maybe it's time to do a little bit, uh, switch it up a little bit, So you started doing a lot more organic type, in your opinion, you call them organic, where you're making your own sounds and doing, patch design and stuff like that. So what is your process when you make a track or you make a beat or something like that?
Um, well, for the most part, I'll come into the lab and I'll have an idea, and so I'll go to my keyboard, or depends on the inspiration. My good choice for the past was my NV8000, and I use that as the brain, or the sequencer for my, what I call the E Museum, on my emu racks, which you see over my shoulder here. Um, Over the years, I collected a lot of them, and they got hundreds of sounds. So I can use that to force feed my MV and just create from there. So pretty much, I'm the type of person that I can hear one patch or one sound, and it can inspire a track,
Right.
or at least a sequence. So I'll just go use that as inspiration to start. So
I find that to be the same with myself too, actually, with like making patches. Um, it doesn't always take a lot for me to get distracted. Well, you can call it distracted or you can call it inspired, but
right,
it doesn't take a whole lot. I can take a bunch of stock sounds and use filters and effects and make them sound completely different. And, I'm perfectly fine with doing that. So I really never, knock on wood, but I never really run into that whole like, what do you call it? Beat maker block or something
right.
like that.
Creative
Because
block, yeah.
yeah, because you can just throw some stuff anywhere and mangle it up and make something out of it. But I guess the bigger issue isn't the creativity, but in my case, it's more of a focus or like a push or a reason, a drive, a motivation to constantly create things. So there's times when I don't feel like m- you know I don't know what you would call it, but experimenting, I guess. And then there's times where that's all I do. So do you ever experience that where you're having trouble getting motivated or have times where things aren't going like you used to or like you would like?
Actually, more often than not, as of late. Uh, the Earlier this year, my father passed away, and so that put a creative drain on me. Whereas when I did come in the lab, it was like I'd come in for a few minutes, cut stuff on, and it's like, yeah, I don't feel like doing that right now, or it'll last for a couple of minutes, and I won't even save what I'm working on. It's just like, okay, I've done that for a few minutes, and I'm done. Uh,
Right.
for the most part, what would normally happen outside of that is I'd come in and be ready to go. All it would normally take is for me to either pull up a YouTube video or watch Instagram, and just the people in my feed would inspire ideas. Or I mean, because it's a wide variety, producers, artists, graphic artists, people who draw, uh, filmmakers, or just people who dig for records. And I'm a record digger myself, so I can either use the idea of a specific track, or look at an album cover and use that just for inspiration. So like you said, it's more often than not that I don't have any creative block, but like I said, with the family issues, I was going through a spell. So that was my thing. Once my father did pass away, it was like a huge weight off my shoulder. I could really get back to being creative. So that's when I
I understand that, and I think that sharing that is not always people's first instinct,
yeah,
to share the problems that we go through, and everybody has them, right? Everybody's got things in their life that are going on. And so I appreciate you sharing that. We all have times when things aren't going so great. I myself have had some issues recently in the health department. So we all can pull from that, and I think just knowing that you're not alone, knowing that everybody else experiences those same kind of ups and downs of creativity and motivation and stuff. I think that it helps when you know that somebody else is doing the same thing, and I'm glad to see that you're, feeling better about things. And um, I know that you had said that you were just a little disappointed. There's a producer retreat that you've liked to be a part of the last couple of years, and you're hoping to get back into um, participating in those. You weren't able to
yeah,
because of
exactly.
the issues you had to kind of tend to.
Yes.
So, I mean, it even affected your social life,
Oh yeah. Oh,
So,
definitely.
and I think that it can be medicine for us, like the music and the community. It can be medicine for us, and so that's kind of the direction that I live in is the therapeutic. You know, just love hearing sounds, and I love creating things. And when I'm making a sound, I'm not thinking about anything else. You know,
Exactly.
and that's really what inspires me. So, um,
That's
yeah,
that,
and
that time warp. You get in your element, and time just really goes fast. That's how you know you're in your happy place.
oh man, does it ever? It goes by real quick. I mean,
Mhm.
I know I have responsibilities throughout the day, and I'll look up and be like, "Damn, did I really just do that for 3 hours?"
Yeah, exactly.
And but I guess there's a lot of worse things I could be doing with my time.
True.
So yeah, it's all good with me. I mean, I'll take any little bit of creative inspiration and use it. And do you find it like at all difficult the way that the technology era and social media, and do you find it difficult at all to like integrate your ways into this environment?
I did at first. I got on to. I was in social media. Well, let me back up.
Hmm.
I got on. I started posting on YouTube probably 2009 or late 2008, and that was easy. For me, all I had to do was set up a camera and just create and film. Interesting. What I thought was interesting stuff. I realized I was already doing something different, and the gear that I was using, the music that I was making. So it was fairly easy for me to attract some kind of audience. May not have
Right.
been a lot, but it was an audience. So as I got more comfortable filming, and you got to get over that seeing yourself on camera and hearing yourself talking and all of that stuff. Then the creative side came in, and I just started focusing on music. And it got really easy to post multiple videos a day because they didn't have to be long length videos.
Right.
Uh, so around 2014, that's when I started getting onto Instagram. And back then it was 15-second videos. So I'm like, oh, I can create 100 of those a week, but you gotta still keep it interesting.
Right. You
So
do.
so as you learn that, and keeping your content relevant, or a variety of things, but still keeping people interested, it became a little more challenging. But also once they upped it to a minute, then that challenge became even great. The biggest challenge I find is that that's how people actually do business now in the music
Mm.
industry. Basically, if you're a producer, you're shopping your beats or your music to other people, and that's their number one way of finding or hearing your music. So you, that takes a different way of thinking, because it's like, oh, normally I'm used to, you know, sending somebody a track or whatever, or meeting with somebody in a studio session, and goes from there. But now you're using technology to totally, I can do business with somebody on the other side of the world now. So that's just a total game changer.
Right.
Then you got your whole branding and all of that, building your website and your image. And so even with that, you still have to keep all of that fresh and innovative while keeping people's attention, because now everyone could be a producer in their bedroom. So basically, I heard someone say recently, "What's your separation factor?" So what separates you from everyone else? So I realized that a long time ago that the more I get around other producers and creatives, I am different, and that's my separation factor, because I am different. So that enables me to keep an audience.
That's actually a great term. I never heard anybody say that before. You said separation
Factor, yeah,
factor, separation factor.
yeah. What's your
I'm gonna
separation?
put that in the description. That's actually something that anyone can apply. Like, if you're even a dancer or you're a whatever, any art, what is your separation factor? And I had a guest on a couple weeks ago, Rod Wallace, and he said something that was really powerful to me. And he said that our culture, our society values the ability to exclude people, and I felt like that was a very introspective type of thing to say, because I think it's a lot easier to deny and to just do your own thing, and not worry about helping the guy next to you and stuff like that. It's very difficult to be an inclusive person. It takes a lot of work. Even
Yeah,
doing something like this,
yeah,
we've had a lot of communications, haven't we? I mean,
yeah,
it's just been a process. I mean, if I want a net maker, I need to get to you early, like a month and a half, 6 weeks
yeah.
ahead of time, and
Exactly.
that, and it takes a lot of work. So when somebody is that type of person and they find others like that, it's like a breath of fresh air, man. It's
Yeah,
like you find some people that are finally doing the stuff that you want to do, and so um, separation factor. I know for me personally, I like to feel like I'm not doing what everybody else does. And so that can also it can feel like you're alone,
indeed, indeed.
it can feel lonely, man, when you're doing your own thing and people seemingly don't get it. But there's no way to tell somebody or show them every little thing that you've done to make what you made. You
Right.
only you know. And maybe there's people that can pick out those small things, but you got to do it because you love it.
Yeah.
And it really is. It is about the process.
Yeah.
I'm
Definitely.
finally feeling good about that. You know, so yeah, and so um, let's see, man. There's so many things. Independent artists. Do you think like opposed to so I guess when do you consider yourself, when was your start? Like what year do you think you consider your commitment to the music game?
As a artist that's putting out projects, I'd say 2016, um, because I fully committed to getting a project out to the world that was available on the internet. Someone could purchase a physical project. Officially having something on any kind of chart.
Right.
So that
You wanted to see it.
yeah, that was my goal. It was like, I forget what birthday that was, but it was like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna officially have a project out now. People knew I made music for years, but never had an official project out, and I wanted to solve that year.
Right. Yeah, that's that's a great little, a goal for yourself. A lot of people can't set a goal, and
Right,
they just get kind of caught up in what everybody else is doing. So,
right.
um, I like the idea of putting together an album
Yeah,
personally, but for me, it would have to be a community project, like because I
right,
just don't get the thrill from putting together music like that, in the mixing and doing it like that. So
right,
I really, my hat's off to everybody that can start a track and go all the way to the end with the mixing and all that stuff. Because man, I see a butterfly and I'm like, oh shit, what's over here? And I'm out. I'm gone. I'm not even trying to stay on something too long. I'm the king of starting shit.
Oh,
I'm just not
brother,
the king of
you're
finishing
not
it.
alone. You're not alone.
Okay, maybe I'm the prince of starting shit. Maybe you're the king of starting shit. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for years that was me. I was the poster child for that. It's like I can think back on years where I've had on hard drives 300-400 tracks, and you know only a few of them might actually be fully finished. It's like, oh yeah, I just started an idea. Yep, I'll name that, date it. I'll come back to it later, and I might
right,
I might have 3 or 4 like that in one day, you know,
right,
and never go back. Oh yeah, one day I'll listen to it a month later or 2 months later. Yeah, I should have finished that. I'll have times like that when I'll listen to an old hard drive and it's like, damn, that was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
right.
Why
Yeah,
why didn't I put that out? Kind of thing.
and I had a similar moment, and I just decided, like, if I'm gonna capture this stuff, I have to do it on video because like I said, I get a thrill from that creative process, and so if I can just capture it somehow, I mean that's pretty much the only archive really that I have of what I do, because I don't even save these things. I put them together or whatever, and then they don't really get saved as a project anywhere. I got little bits and pieces on different machines, but
Right,
nothing that like holds everything together. I mean, at times I'll put like program like MIDI data in Ableton projects and
right,
set up program changes and make new patches and assign them to programs and all that. But for the most part, I just make shit and that's about it. Make shit and enjoy the process.
right. Yeah,
So
I'm that way as well. What was I gonna say? The I find that it's very easy to do that. I would damn, I totally lost my train of
well,
thought.
I know that we talked about like you were thinking about heading towards workflow, like a different type of workflow
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
So what are you thinking?
Um, well, initially when I first got into producing, I was a sample based producer, and so I started collecting vinyl and all of that, and building a lab geared towards that. So I wanted that 90s sound. So
Right.
I believe I achieved that, but over time, for some reason I started worrying about if I did put a project out, copyright infringement and sample clearances. So, and also I decided I was going to learn how to play tracks. I found that there are a lot of big name artists that have producers that will replay or recomp a track, and I found a lane for myself doing that, and it became fairly fruitful and easy for me to do it. Well, I won't say easy. It's a challenge because you're remaking it to the way you either heard it or remember it, and for me, it's always the way I remember it.
Right.
So getting something as close to it in my eyes is the challenge. But most of the time, when people hear that, they hear where the idea is from, but they always hear my distinct sound in it. So I guess it kind of works both ways because it's like, in my eyes, I was remaking something, and that's the way I hear it. But when other people hear it, all they hear is an original track.
Yeah. Yeah, because we all have a unique way of hearing things and processing audio, and
Exactly.
you have a unique history with your hearing.
Yes.
So it kind of gives you a little bit of different depth to depth perception in your audio processing that a lot of people don't get to,
Right.
and
Exactly.
I have a similar thing with my vision, just being that I went through problems with my vision, that my other senses they did heighten, because I remember one time the lights went off in my house,
Hmm.
and everybody's like bumping into stuff, freaking out, and I just kept my eyes shut and I just walked right through the house, just like no problem, because I think you understand things different when you start to lose
Yeah.
like senses. It's a real thing that people say your other shit. I shouldn't
Yeah.
keep cussing. I'm probably going to get flagged or something. But
It's
um,
okay.
when when it's you, man, you're bringing the cuss out of me. That's what it is.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, so we can get a little bit of like almost superpower when you
Right.
lose one sense.
Right.
So,
Well, that's
and
the thing. When when I'm in the lab and I turn my gear on, I actually feel like I have superpowers, because it's like, okay, the way I hear sounds and sequence sounds, I know no one's doing what I'm doing, and it's like,
no,
okay, I'm I'm gonna take the weirdest sounds that I come across that day and sequence them in a way that I think is funky. And people hearing it, a lot of times it's like, where the hell did you come up with that? you know?
hey, this is a perfect time. This is
Yeah.
the perfect time to bust out something if you've got it.
Oh,
You
sure.
got
I I
something?
I, I can do something real quick.
Yeah, let's roll with something. So, that maker's got a couple things loaded up for us, and we're just going to take a little chill session and ride it out. Man, oh man, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Damn, did you put that together recently?
Actually, that is a revisit to a track that you'll hear on my first project when you get your tape.
Oh man, that is. You know what my favorite part is about that is you take the time to stop it and to slowly bring it back twice.
Yeah.
That's I love that. I love that, man. And anybody that wants to say that you don't have a distinct sound, man, if you hear a track of yours, it's undeniably Netmaker. And
I hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you, the biggest thing I think in my ears is the bass.
Yeah.
Just the rugged, kinda, um, the it's a bass that kinda, like, weaves in and out of tune and, like, cut off filters, and man,
Mhm.
I love that. I love that sound. That's great. I aspire to be able to make bass lines like that.
Sure,
So,
sure you will. Um,
yeah.
Amazingly, bass is always something that I hear first. Normally drums is second, but the bass line is what actually inspires the track in my head. 9 out of 10 times.
You'll start with the bass when you make a
Well,
track?
I won't make it first because normally I'll just play the bass out as I get the other parts going, and then the bass line will kind of like finish it out or take it the other way, so to speak. But I'll start building a track in my head, whether it's a sample idea or a vocal or just me mangling something in my head. Greatest sampler I have is my brain first, and so I'll start modulating sounds and things in my head, and then it's up to me to try to get the machines to do that.
Right. Yeah,
Eight
I
out of
think
8 out of 10 times, I'm not successful.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to have these moments where I'm hearing ideas that I'm not able to do anymore. And normally I can do what I want to do, but I think you get to a place where you all of a sudden now want to do something that you can't physically, you don't know how to do yet,
Yep,
you know? So,
exactly.
and now, I guess, like, for you, that was great, and you were able to put that, put it in here on the live stream. And I think the thing for me was, if would I be able to make something like that live? Like, that is the rugged rawness that, only a netmaker style track has. That bass line is ridiculous.
Thank you.
So that's why I always look for you on Instagram, because I'm looking for that. I'm always looking for that rugged bass line,
It's
So
funny because I don't play bass per se, but when I'm on the keyboard, I play it like I would play a regular bass. For some reason, I've been able to do that for a long time. I don't know if it's just how you get in the zone and you don't think about what you're doing,
mhm,
so to speak. You just flow with it. Baseline seems to be my thing that I do that way. Uh, Actual chords and normal key progressions, I don't do that with with those. But with bass lines, it's just always I always play them out, and it's like,
right,
oh, okay, and I just build from that.
right, yeah. So, do you are you the type of person that needs to create things every day? Are you the type of person that forces yourself in the studio, or are you just strictly inspiration based?
I'm strictly inspiration based. Um, when I set deadlines for myself, I might make myself spend more time than other times when I won't think about it because I'm trying to make that deadline. Just like me saying, to the world now, yeah, I want to put something out Thanksgiving week. That's affirmation that I intend to do it, and that's how the first project came out. It was kind of like on a dare, and it was like, okay, put something out. People say, oh yeah, I've heard plenty of things. Put a project out. So
Right,
on a dare to myself, I said, okay, yeah, Thanksgiving week I'll put something out. And so here's me doing that again to, you know, force myself to see. Like a lot of creators, I find my biggest problem is being in my own way. You overthink things and you might have a lot of self doubt with certain things. Oh, and you worry about what people might think of something. Why? As long as you're happy with it, that's all that really matters. As long as you can be your best self, who do you care that you impress? So I have to constantly remind myself of that. You know,
yeah,
people will notice that, like, socially, I'll be the one that motivating people, trying to help other people get out of their way because I know that that's something that I struggle with. So, in me doing that for others, I also help myself.
right.
If you can understand that.
Yeah, oh, I understand that 100%. I understand that. Um, Somebody told me not that long ago that he read a book that it was something to the effect of uh I don't know, like don't give a f about what others think, or only give a f about what you. I don't know. I can't remember what the title of the book was now, but it was basically don't worry so much about what other people are doing, and only worry. Put the emphasis on the things that you care about. Put as
Exactly.
much emphasis on the things you care about as others do the things that they don't like. So it's just I guess it's that the balance between good and evil,
Yeah.
or yin and yang. There's a lot
Exactly.
of forces trying to pull you out of your own head you
Yeah.
know
Exactly.
so it's
It's funny you say out of your own head. I always say if I could introduce the world to the producer in my head.
right. Right. That's the thing is, I think we all have that creative person, that wants to just be free,
Yes.
but there's that judgment
Yeah.
that it's hard to let it go. It's hard to
Exactly.
like allow yourself. I just started singing on YouTube
Uh,
because I just felt like at some point I got to stop giving a shit about if somebody's going to see this and they're going to think I'm this or that. I actually just like all music, and I
right.
don't really care about. I actually really don't care if somebody doesn't like what I'm doing. What I care about is whether or not people like me.
Right. Right.
So that's the thing that a lot of people, I think, creatives worry about. It isn't whether or not they like what I'm doing. Is what I'm doing making them not want to be around me?
Right.
And I think when you're comfortable with yourself, you find that comfortable place with yourself. It takes a lot of self talk. I think a
Yeah.
lot of like positive, like you said, you've shot your own foot couple years ago and said, I'm going to make this track.
Yep.
And you had to pull through for your own sanity. You had to pull through. You weren't going to let yourself fail.
Right. Right.
So I think you do get to that place eventually. So, there might be somebody watching this that feels a lot of self doubt, and, they're probably thinking they're trash. They're garbage. They don't do anything right. But I think that there is a lane for everybody, and
There,
people might
there,
not understand what it is that
there's
you're doing.
definitely a lane for everyone.
Yeah. And it might not be the lane you're expecting. You may be
Right.
starting out thinking you're in one lane and you may be in a completely other lane. But if you focus on the process and the people that support you, then I think that you have a much better chance of gaining momentum and succeeding in what it is that you want to do. So
Exactly.
there are good people. You just kind
Yeah.
of gotta kind of find them,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
number one, you got to put yourself out there to be seen and heard.
Right. And um, one factor that seems to be pretty prevalent, at least in the hip hop culture, is age.
Yes.
So that can be like a hindrance for some people. They feel like I'm too old to do this. I just turned 40,
Hmm.
and I mean, I look 12, but I'm 40
Maybe
and
maybe 14.
14, 15. Um, but I felt like at some point, man, I got to give myself a chance, you
Yeah.
know. So
Because you'll never know otherwise.
yeah, you'll never know. You'll
Yeah.
never know. And I just got into hip hop when I was in the military. I was a heavy metal guy. So there was a lot to learn, but I love hip hop. I think that there is like this stigma with age, which I really don't fully understand. Not exactly sure where that comes from. Do you have any clue about that? Where does this come from?
I think it's that. I mean, just starting at like say age 19, 20, maybe even younger now. When I was that age, you look at people my age and like, oh, they don't know nothing about this. They wouldn't understand. You wouldn't get it. And it's funny how many times that I have to tell myself that when I look at the younger generation now, because it's like, oh, I might not agree with the music they listen to or the type of music they listen to or even maybe the dances that they do, but there was somebody that once said that same thing about me. And, having that retrospect, it's like, oh man, when you catch yourself doing it, then you're a little more optimistic and you try to keep an open mind about it. And it's like, oh, they're just enjoying what's available. Um, Technology has definitely changed the way people listen to and consume music.
It's
We
now. It's
Yeah,
like
it's instant, and that's the thing. It's like, I work in the IT field, and I talk all the time with coworkers about it. It's like, man, I remember having to kind of touch on, back on the cassette thing.
mhm.
So it all feeds back into that. What do you remember about music? So you get a record and you listen to it, and most likely you're going to listen to it all the way through. It's not something that you can just pick and pop, hop in between tracks like you can do with tracks now. It forces you to take that time to listen to the whole project for the most part. Definitely with cassette, because otherwise you're gonna be sitting there, fast forwarding, rewinding, flipping, and you wouldn't enjoy the experience at all.
Right.
So that's what I'm even into mini discs, and so same thing. You go to, I mean, yeah, that's more digital, so you can hop around the way you want. But even with that, you're gonna sit there, you're gonna enjoy the experience.
Right.
Kids nowadays, and even myself, like in my car, you got a hard drive full of MP3s, and it's like, unless it's one of your favorites, you're gonna sit there. You might want to listen to a couple seconds of it, then you hop into the next track.
It's so
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, it's very easy, and it's you can sit there. You can have thousands of songs on your phone and all of that. So, as I say, we're spoiled by technology. So, having being force fed with all this information and data, of course, your retention and your attention span is going to be shorter. So
Right.
you want more time to enjoy everything.
Right. One thing that I miss
Yeah.
is locating artists through the process of like detective work. Like back in the day, you'd find a something that you liked and you would look on the back, like even a CD, just like
Hmm.
you'd look on the back and you would look for names that you don't recognize. And then you would go and search and see if there was anything by that person. And then
Right.
you would take that and you would listen to it. And then if it was fire, you would do the same thing. You would find somebody, and that's how you would locate new communities of, because listen, I live in Antarctica. There's no local hip hop scene up here. I'm not
Right.
going out to the club out here and listening to the hottest rapper from Maine.
Yeah.
Okay, there isn't one. So I had to go to the local shop and basically just do what everybody else did, and that's just find little pockets of good material, by following the trail. And we lose that now in a way. I mean, we can
Yeah.
still do it like with Spotify and stuff,
Right.
but it's not the same. It's really
No.
not.
No.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the main things I like about social media, because you know by everyone being connected now, I can talk to my favorite artist from my childhood if we're on
Yeah.
social, and I can give them their roses while they're still alive, so to speak. Because
Right.
I'm not looking for anything from them. I just want to let them know how they affected me. With
Yep.
their art, and even younger artists. I never have a problem speaking my mind at all. It's like if I feel a certain way about something, I'm going to tell you. If I appreciate your art, I'm going to tell you. And
Right.
it's not going to be a shot at my manhood or nothing, because you gave me an experience. I appreciate it. So I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I guess that's another stigma is feelings.
Yeah.
You we all have them,
Yeah.
so let's not pretend that we
We're, hu-
don't.
we're still human.
Exactly.
We
Like,
just have
I was
we have
sitting there
alien traits.
exactly. That's the one. Because while you were playing your track, I know I got myself out of the image, so I could bang out because I was really enjoying that so much. I didn't want to be the corny ass white dude sitting there doing this. But yeah, so I loved it. You don't have
Uh,
anything else to play for us, do you?
actually, I do. I do.
Let's cue it up.
All right, no problem.
Let's go. Turn it up a little bit this time.
No problem. Let it load right quick. You ready to go?
Take your time. I'll tell a story.
I
So
don't know if you got that long. Go ahead.
I met this guy on Instagram. He posts all black and white videos,
Uh-huh.
and he had these bass lines that were just filthy. So I checked him out, and unfortunately, he's now a friend, and he's got a whole name thing that's related to the internet and making tapes. And they call this guy the tape maker. I don't know if you heard of this guy, but he might be playing some fire for us in a second.
Yep. I might have heard of someone like that in my travels. Let's see. I guess I do like those alien sounds.
I think you do. I think you might be from whatever planet I've visited in my past life.
I'm from
Oh,
Sonic Planet, man. I'm from Sonic Planet.
yeah, that's beauty. That's a beautiful, beautiful track. I just love those. I love the evolving. What would you call them? Bloops. I don't really know what to call them other than
Yeah,
the
Blue's
little
pretty.
plucky type
Yeah.
bloops.
Yep.
And they evolve and move around and stuff like that. So, somebody um, somebody was saying, let's see here. I think I can do this. So, Mr. B, he's got the glasses on, listening to this. This is
Appreciate it.
smooth. Um, yeah, Mr. B, he's another guy that's from another planet. He, genuine guy. You got to stick with the genuine people.
Oh, we're on our way.
Um, yep. And so tell me, so people know,
Yeah.
where did you get your name from?
Um, Well, NetMaker. Well, my last name is Arnett, so I have the actual word net in my name. Also, I've been working in IT for over 30 years, and I'm a wireless engineer right now, and I have been for the last 12, 13 years.
Can you
And
speak up just a little bit for us?
I'm sorry,
There you
uh,
go.
I'm a
Beautiful.
I'm a wireless engineer, and so I build the internet every day.
Mm.
So also, that's where the technical part of NetMaker comes in, and then, like I said, net is in my name, NetMaker as I create. So NetMaker, I'm always making something creatively. So
It's good to have that multiple meanings
yeah,
in things, and so it just happens to fit perfectly, for you. It's a great the whole thing, man. Just the I think you got to promote the alien thing a little bit more, but other than that,
yeah, I do.
because I think that's it's a kind of a thing that people don't. I think they understand it when it's said to them, but I don't think people normally think of aliens in the musical way. But there's some aliens out there. There's some definite aliens. Another one, gamma pods.
Yes,
Another alien man. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there, and we don't need to start naming everybody. But yeah. So are you a fan of YouTube? You watch a lot of YouTube?
actually, that's all I watch. Honestly,
Okay. So
well, I'll say 90% of my TV viewing is me watching YouTube, and
that's
basically
pretty. It's
it's
pretty
a
similar. Yeah. Most I
random
think.
topics. You know,
Right.
I'm the
Yep.
type that I'll watch any random music based thing, but I'm also that guy that I'll be watching how to build houses and home designs and people building houses out of like shipping containers or how to make different things. It's just random, That's why I love about YouTube. I can just go in if I want to learn something, you know, just search the topic. I mean, hell, I was watching how to grow dates. I
Yep.
got into eating dates recently, and okay, how can you grow them from the seeds?
So you're a seeker. You're a knowledge.
Oh
You're
yeah,
as myself. I feel like I'm a I want to have more information. I want
yeah,
people to give me more information.
definitely.
Um, you know, like you said, random topics. I mean, I build things. I love just to create anything, whether it's with my hands,
Mhm.
community. Like I love this idea of having people come and collaborate in like a virtual environment.
Yes,
So right now we're using StreamYard, and StreamYard is a platform that allows us to bring in multiple people. So we've talked about this, and I've got this plan for collaborating online, which will allow you to introduce your baselines
mhm,
to others so that it can be used in a collaborative piece. Maybe somebody like CX, the producer, or Gamma Pods has oh, I lost my camera there. Maybe somebody like CX or Gamma Pods has a drum pattern for us.
yeah,
Maybe I got a synth lead.
right.
Maybe you got the bass line, and then you kind of are you a Kenny Beats fan?
Oh yeah, yes
Oh,
I am.
Kenny Beats. So Kenny Beats, I'm gonna link Kenny Beats. Not that he needs my damn help, but I'm gonna link Kenny Beats also because Kenny Beats, he's a Berkeley guy. I'm a Berkeley alum, but he's a Berkeley guy as well, and he does this really cool YouTube series where he brings in big artists
Yeah,
and makes tracks like in a day, and so I think that it can be done virtually. I mean, we don't have the money to be flying people all over the place and stuff like
no,
that,
no, we
but
don't.
we could do it in a virtual way. I mean, it'll feel the same. It'll feel similar. It won't be, you won't be like dapping it up and shit like that, but you'll be working in a space with other people. And I think it's a cool concept. And I got a lot of people that are interested in it. So hopefully we can do something like that. Does anything like that interest you?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Just experimenting and finding new ways to use the technology that we have at our disposal, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Um,
At that point, I will. When we start to do that, then I'll start making stuff on the vintage gear.
mm. So, do you want to give us, like you call it, the 10-cent tour? Is that what you call it?
I could.
Or do you, maybe you can just tell us?
Yeah, I could talk about it. I mean, I have it in on camera here. So I saw Mr. Basic mentioned it. So this is my. I was given the term from Instagram creator. He called it the E Museum, and that pretty much stuck with me. I'm like, that's the perfect name for it. So I have this affinity for emu gear, and so as over the years, I said I was going to start collecting these racks because I wanted the sound. I'm a fiend for synth sounds, and so when I was starting to build my studio, I said, okay, I want to see what line that I'm going to go to and start purchasing and collecting. So I started collecting these Proteus 2000 racks. And so it became a passion of mine. I said, okay, I have to have every one of them and every available card. And so
Not just one or two. I gotta have everyone.
I gotta have them all. And once I got a list of what was all available, and I started,
You
you
got a
know,
list?
yeah, there's a list out there of how many they made. And so I said, all right, if it's possible, I'm gonna collect every single one of them from that line. And so that's what I did.
Wow.
It probably took me around 3 years, but it also, like I said, it's a gift and a curse because I get a lot of admiration for that because you don't really see that collection in one set like that. And I mean,
Right.
it might be 10 people in the world right now that has a collection like that. And like I said,
Yeah, if that.
it's a
Right.
gift and a curse
Yep.
because in order to collect something like that specifically, you have to be ready to make purchases
On the
at the,
spot.
on the spot because you got to
Mhm.
beat that next person before they get it. Which means sometimes you're gonna pay more than you want to pay. You're gonna accrue some debt doing that.
Right.
So, I caution people, especially younger people, when they say, "Oh, yeah, I want to have a collection like that." It's a gift and a curse.
Yep.
If you don't have the means to do that and do it responsibly, it will put you in a hole. But having said that, it also is you're committing to or you're creating that sound, and that was the other thing. I did want that sound, and there are several of my, I won't say peers, but people that I look up to and OG producers that they definitely got sound in that rack right there, and
Right.
if they've become staples of their sound, and that was my whole reason for wanting to do that. I wanted to have that 90s sound, and I couldn't afford a SB 1200, so I said, well, I'll go for the sound, and so they were budget friendly at the time. Now these things right there, I mean, I couldn't afford to buy that set, that collection right there right now because the prices are sky high now.
So for one, right now, what are they looking at?
Well, for the actual rack, you might pay $400 or $500, depending on which card it has in it. Each one of those has the ability to hold a number of cards. So all of those racks in there probably have 3, 4 cards within them, and the cards alone could be $300, $400.
We need to do another whole damn show on just these
Yeah.
pieces of equipment because that is such an interesting concept, though, with the different cards and stuff.
Oh
I would
yeah.
love to learn about that because I don't, like I said, me coming from heavy metal, I don't have this knowledge base that a lot of people have on this stuff. So,
Right.
and I'm not afraid to say I don't know what that is. I don't know about that, but I want to know.
Right.
Does it sample
Uh,
direct?
no, no,
Okay,
those are what's called romplers. So basically,
prompt.
they're ROM chips with sound on them. So I believe the most part they probably have four. 500 plus patches on there,
Yeah.
each,
Okay.
each cart. And so I probably have 10,000 sounds in that rack right
Can you modify a sound, or are they
there.
like
They have what's called,
synthesize it at all?
you can modulate it. They do have knobs where you can tweak the sound, and
Hmm.
some cards you can have them save your custom patch, your tweaked patch rather.
Right.
There are other,
So it saves the MIDI data.
yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
And so once you do that, you can actually save it as your own patch. I don't get that deep in it because I don't want to
You don't
mess
get
up.
that far.
Yeah, normally, I'll tweak a sound and it's like, okay, I like what I got out of it. I'll
Let's
use
go.
that. I'll use that for that track, and I'm moving on. But that's the thing. Knowing that I can come in here and endless, possibilities. That's what excited me about it, because like, oh, I don't have to worry about a computer crashing and losing everything, because all I got to do is power it up.
And
And
so I know that you're using Ableton too, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, the DAWless thing, and it's a bit comical, like the
mhm,
term, but it's describing kind of a new old way to do things, because we all used to be, I mean, not we,
yeah,
at one point in time, everybody was DAWless,
right.
right?
Well, this right here, this is
I'm gonna
my,
pull it in here. Let's
all
do
right.
this. There you
This
go.
right here, that's my MV8000.
Beautiful.
And anyone that's known me for years, this is what I cut my teeth on. This is what
Mhm.
90% of my YouTube videos were made with. Uh, they were all fed by those modules. So that was the thing. I was the MIDI guy. I would, a lot of times I wouldn't even sample the sounds into it. I would just sequence them. What you see over there is a template that I would normally start up, and just each one of those has the module data, or the MIDI channel that I
Yes.
would put the patch on, and just go from there. And I would just, once I load up that template, I'm ready to go.
Good to go. Yep. I do the same thing with, control changes and stuff like that. Um, I was just telling a guy yesterday, he was saying it would be nice to have like linear workflow on an MPC-X or
Yeah.
MPC Live.
Hmm.
And he said, he was saying to me that I could benefit from that. That me personally, with all the gear that I have, that I could really use that waveform visual. But I was trying to explain that I use MIDI,
Right.
so I don't even need to see the audio
Exactly.
because everything's in MIDI.
Right.
And if I program the patch and save the patch on the synth, it'll
Yep.
always be there no matter what. I don't have to.
Exactly.
And I love that instant. I've got two buttons. I've got one button that turns on this surge protector, and I got another button that turns on another surge protector, and then my entire studio is on. So
Exactly.
I'm ready to go, basically, like with a couple buttons, and that is important to me for
Oh yeah.
creative. You
Yeah.
know,
I'm pretty much the same. I have uh, one button over there. Well, actually, it's about three right now, because I turn on the rack, I turn on my iMac, and then I turn on the interface. Other
we
than that,
really, we really went to how many buttons we're pushing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm just saying it because
No, it's funny.
um, I remember years ago, before, this is a streamlined version. It's a
Oh,
evolution.
really?
It's an evolution of what I started with, because I mean, if someone cared to go back to my YouTube channel and look far back, they'll see when I had just one rack, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it, it just kind of evolved from there.
I mean, I've seen some of the older videos, and the room, it's spacious
Yeah,
in some of the videos, and it looks very minimalistic
yeah,
at times.
mhm,
But I know that's not the case. I know that there's like a lion like under the desk or something. There's like something. There's something going on in there, because there's no damn way that those sounds were coming out of that computer. So I know
yeah.
there was gear somewhere in there.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
I love hardware.
yeah. Me too. Me too.
I love.
Uh,
What's one piece of hardware that you've never owned that you would love to own?
That I've never owned that I would love to
that
own.
you know for sure you would use?
Off the top of my head, I'd say the V synth,
Oh, I
rolling
love
V,
the V synth.
the rolling V synth. That's the
I
one
love
that
that.
it kind of got away. But with that one is I want the V synth two,
Yes.
and that's the one that never drops in price.
And what's interesting about the V-Synth is the technology that it used to in its synth engines is
Yeah.
insane. It's still there's still nothing that can really do that. The live sampling stuff that it does,
Yes.
it's insane. Like I looked at them a lot. I never owned one, but I looked at them a lot because I was trying to figure out how I was going to be able to do multiple things at once. I was
I
trying to
got
figure out, can I
you.
sample? Can I do this? Can I do that? And the V-Synth had like a touch screen. Like you for the day that came out, when like in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, the technology in that thing is still up to par as
Yeah.
far as what you're getting now.
Even
Um,
the producers, the creators say they over engineered it.
way over engineered
Yeah.
it.
That
Yeah, it's kind of
they said the same thing about the MV8000.
it's you know what another thing is like that is the I guess this is way off topic, but the iMac, what is it? The Mac Mini
Yeah.
from 2012
Yeah.
was a beast, and they actually had to clock it back. They had to like because normally they do like jumps of technology, like they double it
Right.
every 2 years.
Right.
But in 2012, man, that thing came out. That Mac Mini came out. It had an i7 that still, I don't think there's anything that's still as fast as that. Even here we are 7 years later, and they're hard to find. They're like $1,500
Oh yeah.
to get a used one.
They don't drop in price.
No, if it's good, they're not going to drop, man. So you said the V-Synth. Okay. So what is your next purchase if you are able to, like, let's say in the next couple years, upgrade something? What would you like to upgrade? Is there anything you'd like to upgrade, or are you satisfied right where you're at?
Upgrade.
We talked about the MV and possibly doing something. Uh,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, I'm currently waiting for the SP2400 to be completed. Um, I pre-ordered that, so what, I believe that's going to ship in January now. Is what he's saying. So
Okay, well that counts.
yeah, that
So that's your answer right there. I would love to have one as well. I've seen your guys' little, you know, shit-eating grins on Instagram. Yeah, I'd like to have one. I'd like to have one. I may join the party, but um, that was never SB12, SB 1200 era. If they can modernize it a little bit for me, I would appreciate it very much.
that's the 2400. That's
Okay.
that's the main reason why I made the jump.
Okay.
I'm normally not the person to jump at a pre-order, but knowing that I missed out on the whole 1200 SP12 SP1200 era and the 2400 giving me all the modern features and still having that sound, I couldn't deny myself of that.
The pre-order price is pretty nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I may have to do that. I may have to join the
People don't
party.
believe me. People do not believe me, but I say it to the grave. When it comes out, it's gonna jump because
I believe you.
when people hear it and see it and touch it and realize what it means, yeah, it's gonna jump in price. But the OG is gonna be astronomical at that point.
Yeah.
If it's high threes, 4,000 now, it's gonna be 7, 8,000 then.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel that way about another piece of equipment. So I'm a Synthstrom Deluge owner,
Yeah.
and this is one of those rare pieces of equipment. Or if you're from the UK, a lot of my UK friends they call them rare kit. This is
Yep.
one piece of rare kit that does everything, and I really feel like so modern like hip hop culture knows nothing about this thing yet still. But I think if
They
that
will. They
happens,
will. They will.
It's gonna fly. It's gonna be crazy because this thing will do everything. It does the
Hmm.
sampling, it does the sequencing, it's got multi-timbral MIDI. So
Hmm.
I can have it sitting over here and record anything, any parameter on any synthesizer I touch, it's gonna record it without me doing anything else. That's
Right.
the beauty of it. Like an MPC, you still have to choose your track, and you can't
Yep.
record multiple sources
Right.
at the same time. That sucks.
Yeah.
So I
That,
love that thing.
that makes me think about something we talked about briefly too. We talk about gear, and now it's, yeah, we both have these elaborate labs. That next piece, you have to really think about how that integrates into your workflow. And even with the 2400, I've said several times the NV is my workhorse. You see me with the push two, they still battle it out for position.
Right.
And it's, I haven't fully integrated the two, and I don't I can't figure out why yet, but
I think I can help you with that.
yeah. But when the 2400 for me, that's me forcing myself to commit to, number one, expanding my options, and also getting back to my sampling roots. Yes,
Right.
yes, I can do that with the MV, but it's the older technology that is really making this 2400 alluring to me. It'll make it so much easier to do that jump back to sample based production.
Uh,
So,
and another thing too is your MV and your push are both currently tasked to do jobs.
yep,
So if you want to do that, you have to find either a way that doesn't pull away from what you're doing,
yep.
or you have to add something else. And what happens when you add another piece of gear,
You gotta
NetMaker?
work. You gotta work that workflow out.
You got it. How long does that take,
it,
NetMaker?
it could be a long time. I
It's
mean,
at least a month.
it's forever. Because, yeah, we talked about the infamous gas syndrome. Yeah, we all have it, and
Gas chamber's coming soon.
some have it more than others. You know, like, I have a piece over here that is still in the box. It's only been out twice, and it's because I haven't taken the time to figure out exactly how it's going to be in the workflow. I really think that it's going to cater more to my sound design and sound creating practices, but it's still going to be a niche product, and that's my Art Odyssey module over there.
Yeah, that is gonna. It's definitely gonna enhance your sound design. I think the way that I would see that working for you is having that thing connected straight to the MV
Yeah.
and playing the notes from the MV, and then just using the faders and stuff
Yep.
just to make your sounds.
Yep. Yep.
You're using it like an external module, which is exactly what it's for anyway. But
And the two times I've had it hooked up, that's exactly how it was set up.
yes, and because does the MV have built-in effects?
It does. Yeah.
So
It,
you could
yeah.
run
Yeah.
it through the MV and then back out, or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, workflow, I love that part of the
Hmm.
creative process, finding that workflow and stuff, but it's not like finding the workflow is not the end result of the
Right.
creative process.
Right.
So yes, it's a necessary thing and I enjoy it, but nobody gets to see that part.
Right.
It's a long damn process.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. That's when you start to find those happy accidents.
yeah, yeah.
And that
And
happens
Mr.
quite a
Basic,
bit. It happens quite.
right? And Mr. Basic, he was a guy too that he bought some stuff. He didn't really have the best idea how to use it when he got it, and then slowly but surely he's finding his sound and finding ways to do things. And
Yep.
so I don't think it even matters what kind of music you make or
Right.
what kind of equipment it is.
Right.
You add something to your workflow, you need to expect that it will take some time to get back to where you previously were,
Exactly.
because you're not gonna it's not gonna be seamless for
Right.
sure. So
Well, see, and that also ties into another issue I had where, you know, a year ago I had a flood in my basement, and so I had
right,
to tear the studio down. it will never be the way it was before.
Ah, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
the because number one, I didn't document how I had things hooked up, and it was nothing for me to have one thing going through another, and oh, I like that sound, I'll do that now. Oh, I'll just leave this here temporarily. Oh yeah, it's been there a year now, so
right.
you'll never get those back. It's always going to be different. So that's the one thing Instagram has been great for because I made a lot of videos back then, even though they were 15 seconds. It gives me those snapshots of where my sound was and where my creative process was at that time.
I should head down there sometime and spend a weekend with you building something. Like
Yeah,
I have tools, I have transportation. I mean, I could come down there for like 2 nights. We could go to Lowe's and get some lumber, and we could build an entire like
that would be great.
station for you with monitor stands, like with all your stuff right where you want it, so you can be like in a friggin' spaceship.
Yeah,
I mean, I could do that in a day or two, you know.
that'd be
I
cool.
mean, if you ever want to like expand your little operation there and get everything like in your vision, we can make that happen for sure.
Yeah, well, we have to put that on the calendar because
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always down for a road trip, and I'm always up for like workflow. I enjoy that stuff. And you know what? You never know. May get a video out of it or something,
oh
you
yeah,
know? Make a YouTube video for us or something.
yeah, that would be great because I think doing that, getting everything nailed down to each everything being at hand's reach and connected and ready to be used would totally change your creative process.
It really is.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
because
there's
go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of little things you can do too. Like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so that's just an external USB powered or USB corded calculator, right?
yeah.
But I put these little stickers on it, and so there's a red sticker and an orange sticker and a green sticker, and so this is actually an Ableton controller, and it was $5, and so
Wow.
this controls because I've mapped it already. So
Yeah,
this for $5, you could have you if you have a USB hub, you could have 6 of these all at your fingertips, controlling different loopers, effects, and whatever. It just takes a little bit of time to set up the stuff the way you want it, but it doesn't cost that much money if you know how to, use your resources.
right.
Walmart, man, you can actually get a lot of studio gear from Walmart if you know what you're looking for. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't think people use Walmart enough, but I've got this overhead track system that came from Walmart.
Uh,
Like, do all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
I,
maybe we
I
can
I
make
have
that
a
happen.
I have a Walmart within walking distance of my house.
Well, then we may be frequenting that place quite a bit if we get together for a studio build, because
Yeah,
I'm all about like saving money, doing it like the cheapest way possible.
right.
Uh, I mean, maybe we even find some old junk desks or something and build off of those.
I bet.
That's a really easy way to do it too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man. So this has been great. I mean, we're at like an hour and a half. I am going to edit some of this down so that give people, a little swifter of an experience.
I got you.
But is there anything else that you want to talk about? We've gone over a lot of different stuff. Do you feel like you've shared with people, your story and do you feel like you've, hit everything you wanted to hit?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I believe so. I would just say if you if you have your creative side and never be afraid to share it with the world. That's something that a lot of people struggle with. Myself included. Wondering what how people will receive. Any true artist always wants to be well received, but you shouldn't let it hinder your creative process because really we really do get in our own way. You see many people posting things on their in their lab, don't overthink it and keep things simple. I mean, it's true, you really need to do that because the biggest hindrance in the world is yourself. your self doubt or how you feel something might play out. But you will never know until you do it. So, you know, motivate yourself, keep things going, and just, push yourself to achieve new goals and dreams. And it can happen. Get out of your own way.
Get the hell out of your own way, he says.
Yep.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate those words. And those words will resonate with people, as they see this. So, it's been great to have you. I know that it's a rare occurrence to get NetMaker to participate in this way. So I am, very, very much appreciate you, coming to do this with me. It's been really fun.
Thanks for having me.
Um, yeah, no problem. And so anybody that's watching on playback, you can go and find Netmaker's stuff in the description. It will be there shortly. And yeah, go subscribe to his channel as well. He's on YouTube. Go find him on Instagram. Reach out. You can see he's a hell of a guy. So if you have any questions, you can hit me up, hit Netmaker up, join the community, and we'll all just keep doing this thing. Just keep
Exactly.
chipping away a little bit at a time. So, all right, my friend. Well, we'll close it down there. And I do appreciate the one or two people that joined us today. So thank you to both of you. Uh, and we'll just let this thing ride out, man. We'll just keep growing it one person at a time.
That's right.
All right, guys. I hope everybody has a good week. And what is this? We're not quite to Thanksgiving yet. We just had Halloween. So I hope everybody had a good Halloween, and be safe out there. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. We got Student next week. If you don't know who Student is, come check him out. Guy's from China, lives in Beijing. Hell of a producer, hell of a nice guy.
Yep.
So we'll have him on next week. Plus, we have an actual guest in the studio over the next week or two. So that should be pretty cool. We'll be bringing some fire to the YouTube channel, hopefully.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, we're going to sign off, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Peace.
buddy.